you. We need one for you. Sure thing. So Jessica got some delicious cake recipes for us real quick that we can.
I found a cheesecake recipe because I've been thinking about making another cheesecake.
Okay, I did that.
So it won't be Demo's favorite raspberry one, but I did get, it's a New York cheesecake. And it's actually the recipe I used when I made that one. I just
Okay.
added your raspberry, white chocolate. But you want the whole recipe?
How much ever you
Instructions and
want to
everything?
give? How much you want to give?
Well, I'm gonna post this on our Love Below Facebook page. So if you want to go back, you know, if you're wanting to make this cheesecake, make sure you go check us out on there. I'll post it on there so you can get the exact recipe, because I'm sure nobody's sitting diligently by their radio with a pencil and paper ready to write this down. But you're gonna need, for the crust, graham cracker crumbs and some butter. Make sure you mix it all well. And then 4 packages of cream cheese, 1.5 cups of sugar, 3/4 of a cup of milk, 4 eggs, a cup of sour cream, a tablespoon of vanilla extract, and 1/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour. Make sure it's all-purpose, not self-rising. And preheat the oven to 350 degrees in a spring form pan. Spring form pan is important, guys, so make sure you figure out what that is before you try to make this cheesecake if you don't already know. And you're gonna bake it for 1 hour. You're gonna, you know, make the crust and then mix all the rest of this yummy goodness up into a bowl, of course. Put it on the crust in the oven for an hour, you know, and then turn it off, let it cool for 5 to 6 hours to prevent cracking, because nobody wants a cracked cheesecake.
It's not going in my mouth anyway, so it doesn't matter if it's cracked.
It just doesn't look as pretty, you know. If you're gonna make this for somebody, it's just not gonna look as pretty if it's cracked. I'm really big on like food presentation. Like, I want it to look pretty when I make it. So
That's when you go to the store, buy a pretty one, and tell me you made it. Not that I ever did that, but I'm saying.
it's not gonna taste the same as my
That is
cake.
not politically correct. That's lying.
They lie.
That's not okay.
Is lying politically correct? Or is it fib?
I think you have to lie to be politically correct sometimes.
I think the word lie is not politically correct. It's being creative.
I can see that.
I like that.
It was a deliberate decision to be untruthful.
You deliberately deceive. Okay.
Thanks. I think we're having too much fun with that.
Okay.
All right, so that's an awesome recipe. I definitely want to. We talked about political correctness in its normally used term, but I feel like because everything is so chastised, you can't say what you want to say. You can't in some instances be as honest as you want to. Is that affecting us in our relationships that we have with the people that we're around? And so it begs to differ. Do you feel like the whole issue of political correctness is trickling down in your conversations and relationships that you have with the people that you are around the most?
Not completely.
Okay.
I feel like within my group of people that I associate with, that political correctness isn't always very important. I mean, if I'm going to go at work, I feel like it would, yes,
Okay.
but not within my friend circle.
Okay. Suzanne?
I feel like that goes back to what I was talking about earlier about political correctness just being put on a pretty face. And if your motivation is right, then it's not going to. You know, like, you need to be who you are in front of your friends. And I feel like we need to stop worrying about putting on a pretty face. And if you get right with who you are and you're not hateful and hurtful from inside, then it is what it is.
But what if you are?
Then you need to get right and quit being hateful and hurtful.
I mean, like, some people are just naturally hateful and hurtful.
Something that they have to work on.
I think that's
to
why
say,
everyone else has to work on
I
being
have to work
politically
on
correct,
it,
so
not
that
jealous.
we can
I have to work on not
Put
being so
them
hateful.
in their place.
Now I heard, we'll go back to the other political correctness, even saying something like, you're right, or that you need to get right, stuff like that, can be
Politically
Yes, incorrect to those who are liberal or that.
Oh, okay, using the term right
It
versus
was
left.
expressed.
Okay.
It was expressed to
Well,
me that way. I found that out yesterday. I'm just
Not
like,
even-
really? Somebody told you that?
Not even right versus left, but when you say you're right or you need to get right, that insinuates that there's only one way to be correct.
Mhm.
And I can be just as quote unquote right in my perception as you are, because my belief system is different from yours. If I'm right with who I am and what I believe, and that's not right with who you are and what you believe, who's right?
Just have a difference of opinion.
Exactly.
That's how it's gonna be.
Praise hands. Because Suzanne, well, she about to go in, but we're gonna tailor it.
I feel like, you see how it's two different people and how they perceive?
Mm-hmm.
It's perception.
Okay.
I guess you can't really change somebody's perception.
You can.
I mean, you can try it.
Yeah.
But I didn't mean it that way.
No, you did. You totally did.
I did not. I am a very sarcastic person, and when people don't understand sarcasm, it's funnier for me. But so what they perceive as I'm not being sarcastic. I'm being serious, and so it's two different perceptions. So I forgot the question, and I'm rambling.
Oh, well, the question was, do you feel like with the adherence to us being politically correct or PC in our public lives, does it trickle down in your particular instance, not in people that you see, but like in your perspective, does it trickle down to your conversations that you have with people? And if so, why is it? Because Lola mentioned that at work, yeah, she's a little bit more PC because, that's a little bit more to those people. But with her friends, she doesn't feel like she has to be PC, or she doesn't have to have a shunt in her honesty towards them or whatever, that kind of thing.
I feel like that I'm gonna say whatever I want to, to an extent, but I surround myself with people who accept and understand other cultures.
Mm-hmm.
And where I work at the Navy Exchange on base in Kings Bay.
Okay.
And I'm surrounded by a lady who's German, Hispanic, Filipino, Guam, Chamerian, that's it, and African American and all that. And I don't treat them as whatever their nationality is. I treat them as a person. And if you treat somebody as a person, then all else. I mean, you
I'm not shaking my head at you that sentiment. I'm just saying,
Oh, okay.
I know I don't.
But if you treat somebody as a person, they can't really be offended.
Right. Okay. Okay, Mark, what you got? Do you feel like you're politically correct in your relationships with your friends and stuff? Or you just give it to them raw?
Yeah, I don't really like to have to censor myself and stuff like that. I mean, I don't say bad things, or I try not to, but like, I don't want to have to like, oh, let me think about what I'm gonna say before I say it, because I know they're gonna say something back, but they're gonna get offended or anything. So like, if that's how you're gonna be, like, I'm pretty much not gonna be around you.
Okay. I did that. Demo, what you got?
I would say that I am politically correct around my friends, but only because I have to be at work, and I work so close to where I live and where my friends are that I make a habit out of it, especially because it's a lot more work for me some days. So if I make a habit of it outside of work, it comes a little bit easier. But there are times in certain groups of friends where I don't have to be as on point with it, and then we just let loose and be people.
I would say that I realized that over time I have been, and that's just because I grew up with a family that I'm gonna say what I want to say. I don't care how you feel about it, and naturally the way you grow up is the way that you interact. And so I've been reinforced not to be as quote unquote honest, because even when I have done so, it has never been received the way that I feel like if I do it with the intent of just letting you know how honest. I mean, honesty can be subjective and could definitely be depending on someone's preference. But if you ask me for something and I give it to you the way I give it to you, which is in my mind honest, it may be too blunt for some people. And so just over time, I've been reinforced not to be so as blunt as I want to be, because people say, I want you to be honest. I want you to tell me the truth. I want you to be real, and they really don't. And so I have conditioned myself and being reinforced by those who I'm around, because I'm very much a people person. What I mean by that, I like to be around people. I like to be in the company of others. I like to have people feel comfortable. Like, you might be the first time you met me, but you want something to eat, that kind of thing. Like, that's how I was grown. That's how I grew up as well. But I realized that people aren't as willing to accept honesty as they want to, and that as they come off as. And in my personal experiences with people over time, I realized that overall there's a bluntness to what I want to say, but in the times I've done that, it hasn't been received well. And so, just as a reminder to me, it's like, I don't want to come off as too blunt or too disrespectful to you, because my truth in your situation may not be what you want to hear, or you may not be able to take it the way I want to take it, or that I want you to, or want you to take it, whatever. So it begs to, and I have a couple questions for you guys, and everybody doesn't have to answer if you don't want to. Most of you have mentioned that you aren't politically correct with your friends and the ones that you're in close communication with, but are you unapologetically honest with yourself and those people? And so what I mean by that is just that, okay, you may be willing to let yourself, let your hair down, so to speak, be a little bit more free with others, but in a sense, when you say something and it's out there, is it something that you feel like, oh wow, am I reserved in my honesty? Or if I say it, that's the way I feel, and that's it. That's the only way I'm gonna take it, and the only way I'm gonna give it, kind of deal.
I'm sorry. There you go.
Oh no, I was just saying, I love the question. I am not unapologetically honest with anyone. I have been in the past, and it hasn't worked out that well for me. So one thing that I have worked on is, I apologize if what I said offended you, or if you were offended by what I said.
Right.
But that doesn't mean I meant it any less.
Okay.
If there's another way that I can say it so that you'll be able to receive it, then so be it. But understand that in what I said there was truth,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't meant to harm you or to hurt you, but it was meant so that you know, and so that we can move forward.
Okay. K-Mo, what you got? Okay. Ray-Bans, what you got?
I am unapologetically honest. My friends know if they come to me and ask me my opinion, they're going to get the truth,
Mm-hmm.
no matter how it makes you feel. I'll make you feel better about the truth, but I'm honest with myself, and I mean, you can't trust me if I'm not gonna be honest with you. So, I mean, maybe it's something I should work on if my friend tells me that I offended them or something, but again, the people I hang out with are able to joke around, be, I guess, quote unquote racist with each other, and say things that other people, you can't say to somebody else. And I feel that with relationships, that you can be yourself, and you can, I guess, you can say whatever comes to mind. Think about it first, but you can say your honest opinion, and the friends that understand you will understand where you're coming from, and and then they understand that it's an opinion, it's your opinion, and they can live by it or they can forget it. So.
Okay. We gotta get you one. We gotta get you a name.
Okay, you find me a name, that's fine. I think I am an honest person now. The closer to me you get, the more honesty you get, because like I was saying earlier, I was raised to be a proper Southern lady. So if I don't know you that well, I'm just gonna be nice and polite, and I'm not gonna tell you that you maybe shouldn't be wearing that outfit. If I love you, then I'm gonna tell you, because you need to know.
Mhm.
But with people that are close to me, they know, and I don't hide anything. I don't hide anything about myself. I don't hide anything about my opinions. But I'm nice about it. I mean, I try to be nice. I think I'm a nice person.
Okay. Lola.
Mm. I feel like I'm often, if I'm really close to you, I feel like I will tell you more of the truth, but I feel like I am, in some senses, closer to that politically correct or just confrontation avoidance. Like, I try to not bring it up if I feel like it's gonna become a big thing, because a lot of times, whatever my honest opinion would be, if it was gonna become a big thing, if it's not something important enough for it to become a big thing, I'm not gonna go into that, because it's just, you know, sure, those shoes look fine, whatever. I'm not gonna get into a big argument with somebody. Some people take that super offensively if you were to like say, actually those are really ugly. Because that's my opinion at that point. And in their opinion it looks good, they feel confident in that. I'm not gonna argue with them over whether they should wear them, stuff like that.
There's this comedian named Bruce, and he would get up in front of, like, he was doing a comic view, he would host it or whatever, and he would talk about somebody's fashion choices, but then at the end he would say, that looks good on you.
Right.
And then he would go into something else, and then he would talk about some more people, like, yeah, man, but that looks good on you. Look at him, just him. That kind of thing. So, I'm unapologetically honest when I'm asked. So if you ask me for advice, if you seek my services, if you seek me out, if you ask me a question, or if we're having a general conversation where I feel like my input is wanted, then I'll be unapologetically honest. But I found a lot of people that, and I mean, I don't want to make it a race thing, but black people tend to want to keep it real. And they want to tell people how it is all the time. And it's like, you know, Sweet Brown said, ain't nobody got time for that. Because your opinion, whether if it's true or not, everybody doesn't want to, it's a time and place for it. When you feel like you got to step out of your boundaries, I just need to tell you this. Like recently I was reading an article, this 16-year-old guy from Atlanta, he was recently accepted to a number of schools, HBCUs and Ivy League institutions, but he decided to go to FAMU. And so many people have found his Twitter, found his Facebook, and found his actual phone text messages, which are on Facebook, phone number. A lot of people, you gotta really check your social media on stuff. And texted him and telling him on why he shouldn't have went to a HBCU when he should have gone to Ivy League institution. And I mean, it's a good read. And he basically explained the reasons why. And his reasoning behind it was his reasoning, but I felt like in that instance, people shouldn't have went out of their way to tell him where he should go and where he shouldn't go and all this kind of stuff. Like, that's when your perception of honesty isn't necessarily honest, because he did his research. Like, he was going to an engineering program, and FAMU has one of the best engineering programs in their state. And Harvard, which is one of the things he looked at, he wanted to go to Georgia Tech first, but they weren't giving him a full ride. And a lot of the institutions that were due to him either gave him a full ride or were too far. But Harvard, he was saying that their engineering program was up and coming. It was just new. So why would I go to something new when I have something already established? But then I can also get the feel of the HBCU when their culture and their heritage and everything of that nature. And plus, it felt like more like a community and a family at that institution than this Ivy League institution, which is prestigious and has all these accolades and all these people. But why can't I still be successful? I have the resources and tools. But, you know, I didn't tell that story to highlight his choices, but people's decision to go out and seek him and tell him what they felt was the best option, what he shouldn't have done. So it's like, on the one instance, when people ask you for it, yeah, you have that right, in my opinion. And some people, you can definitely disagree. But when it goes to the point where nobody asks you for your opinion, you know what I'm saying? Nobody really asks you to comment on this. This is not you. You don't get paid to do this. You know, you're a blogger. You're not an ESPN analyst. And you don't get paid for this. Unapologetically honest does not necessarily convey that message. So we're going to take a quick break on one song. It's going to be Sitting Up in My Room by Brandy. This is The Love Below. Stay tuned in.